Hey sexy, keep walking, nothing to see here.
Does this turn into a gay porn?
Hopefully. You better start getting fluffed.
Hey, this is you know my new Speedos?
Yeah? Wow. I want to see you doing laps on the beach later.
No, not laps, I just gotta go kite. Big waves.
Ew. My name's Kyron John Rathbone. I'm from Tasmania in Australia. Yeah, it's Tasmania. Cold, lonely, wet, dark. No, 4 months of the year it's beautiful. It's the best place on earth, I think. I mean, you ask anyone in the world that everyone's heard of the #1 wave in Tasmania, Shipsterns Bluff. Whenever I say I'm from Tasmania, that's the next question. Have you surfed Shipsterns? So the water's a little cold, which keeps most of the tourists away. You're often surfing by yourself or with a handful of friends. So that's the beauty of it. There's not many places like that left. Just I've been writing for Fanatic for the most part of this year, making little films for them, and they invited me to come to Mauritius, so here I am. Especially this year, I really started surfing Shipsterns, and my goal was to ride it on a stand-up paddleboard. No one had ever done it, and I achieved that 3 times now. I've surfed it, I've tow surfed it. I rode it on a bodyboard years ago. I tried to kite surf it once as well, but the wind dropped out on us, so that was a fail, but but I still want to go. Yeah, my goal is to get back down there and just paddle into bigger and bigger waves. So it's just a shame, like one mistake and you break a board, so it can be an expensive little trip. I want to do it with a stand-up paddleboard again. The days that I've done it have been good, but not the size I wanted. You know, like we're talking 10-foot waves, so 15-foot faces on them and steps and stuff, but I want to try and get to the next level and just get bigger and bigger. That's the goal. Every time you get a wave, that's your biggest wave. You just want bigger. You want bigger. And at a place like that, it seems that it's not so much about getting the perfect ones. The locals that have been surfing it for years, they sit out there waiting. They'll wait for 2 hours just so they can get the biggest, ugliest wave of the day. And it's a challenge getting over those steps, getting around, making the bottom turn and just gaining speed to get back out of it. And you get one hell of a photo at the end, I think. So, yeah, it can either make you or break you, that place. Fast, and just fast. Everything happens so quickly. I've surfed a lot of other spots where you got, waves are fast, but you got a lot of time after the initial takeoff. But Shipsterns, it's maybe 10 seconds of just pure adrenaline, and then it's over. And you might only catch 10 or 15 waves in one session. So that relates to only a couple of minutes of riding time, but all up, it makes it all worth it. Even if you only get one wave and one barrel out there or one launch off the step at Shipsterns, and you're smiling, you're on a buzz for weeks, for months afterwards. Absolutely, it's just fantastic. Yeah. What's so dangerous? Well, what's so rough and dangerous is that it's in the middle of nowhere. It's to get there you either walk in or take a boat. It's a 2-hour walk, straight downhill, down the side of a cliff. It's out on a peninsula called Eaglehawk Neck, and it's just a really remote, raw part of the world. Just cliffs everywhere. There's not many beaches. There's no sand around. It's just straight cliffs going into deep, deep ocean. And the wave itself just comes out of the deepest water, and it'll hit the shallowest shelf of rocks. So I'm not sure on the exact depths of the water, but you can imagine it's just a ledge. The wave just comes, draws the water off, and because there's so much swell hitting such a shallow ledge, it just can't draw enough water off the reef in time. So it'll start breaking inside itself because it's just that much power moving so quickly onto such a shallow ledge. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of Slabs. It's got steps all through it, and that's because of the shallow bottom, and it has backwash in it because of the cliffs so close. The first wave will hit and then it'll draw back out again. It's not like a beach that'll absorb all the impact. So you've got water moving everywhere. You've got sidewash, backwash, triple lips, steps, ledges. It's just something else. Yeah. All around Australia, we've got some amazing slabs. So, but some of them, they just move so quickly that you can't paddle into. Especially if it's 15 to 20 foot. It's pretty much impossible. I mean, people are going to try. I'm sure that's the way surfing's heading, just paddling into these waves. But people are getting tow assisted with jet skis, and that's a buzz in itself as well. Already getting onto the wave with speed. That's definitely handy. If it's a small day, if it's 10 foot, you're going to make nearly every wave. It's got a lot more chance. If it's 15 foot, it's a whole nother ball game out there. It's just the steps they're quite unpredictable. Even the guys that have been surfing it for 10 years will get thrown off those steps and just get into weird, awkward positions, and it's hard to regain speed out of there. So, I don't know, the last time I surfed it, it was probably 15 foot, and I probably made a third of my waves. 5 waves out of 15 probably I rode cleanly out of. The other 10, I spent a lot of time under the water just wondering if it's all worth it. For me, it's the most violent thing you can put your body through, being in a situation where you can't hold your breath, you're underwater, it's very cold, it's very dark. There's big fish that live in that part of the ocean. There's great white sharks. There's been shark attacks in those areas. So there's a lot to think. There's a lot to think about, but the best thing in that situation is just to relax. You just got to relax. It's as simple as that. As soon as you start fighting and wanting to get to the surface, you're going to lose all the oxygen that you've stored from that final gulp that you get. You just got to hold it. 20 seconds, 25 seconds maximum is all it is, but you know, the first seconds are the most vital part, just trying to hold it all in, hold the oxygen in and relax. Sometimes you try to hold into a bowl shape, but then the wave will just take you. It'll take you wherever it wants, you know. It snaps boards, leg ropes. So for a wave to be able to do that, it's hard to keep your arms in. If it wants to take you, it'll just take you. It takes a few big beat downs to realize that it's not that bad. You can survive it. And mind you, I haven't been injured yet, so I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't want to, you know, touch wood that it doesn't happen, but that's the game we play. If it's, you know, you just never know. So you do what you do because you love it. But if I get injured, my worst injuries have been walking down the street or jumping over a fence or falling off a skateboard. So surfing big waves so far hasn't really, yeah. I'll usually hurt myself falling down some stairs or just something completely stupid. That's where I get my biggest injuries. I didn't prepare at all, to be honest. When I first surfed Shipsterns, no training, just paddling every day, which I think stand-up paddleboarding is a great training in itself. I mean, it's every muscle in your body. You're getting a really good workout, and I was doing hours every day. So I guess I was training in the sense, but I wasn't doing anything specific for big wave riding. Now I've started the underwater rock running. I swim down, I have a really long leg rope, and then I have it's like an underwater rock pool basically, just a big bowl, and in the middle there's a big chunk of coral and there's big rocks. I'd swim down to about 22 feet, pick up a rock, and then I run down around the bowl, back out around the coral in the middle and back to the side, and it's about a minute underwater. And when I first started that, 10 seconds my body would just freak out. I would say you would like drop the rock and swim to the surface. But within 1 week of doing that, I'd already tripled the time that I could spend down there. I was relaxing a lot more. I was looking around, fish swimming by me. And you know, that's obviously, you're not going to change your lungs in such a short time, but the mental attitude that you know that you're going to be okay and you can just push it that a bit each time. And that's the key to relaxing when you're surfing big waves, is just relax and know that you will get through it sometimes. Broken ribs kite surfing and torn my rotator cuff muscles and busted kneecaps and torn ligaments, all kite surfing, which is why I kind of gave away kite surfing. Paddleboarding and surfing, not so much. Lots of stitches, lots of fin chops or boards in the face or in the head, of stitches here. But as far as anything too serious, not yet, touch wood. That was probably the most intense situation as far as being scared that I've ever been in my life. I was just kite surfing out 15 meters off the shore, through a school of bait fish, and just felt basically like an explosion underneath me, and my board got ripped off, went flying through the air, and a shark at probably about 1.5 meters actually came out of the water and smashed against the side of me. We were in the air together for a brief second. It happened in slow motion, that part. I remember just like, what the hell? You can't describe the feeling when something like that happens. And just, there was one big muscle. This thing was just, it was like, yeah, I just went into shock basically instantly. I landed in the water backwards and my kite was still flying. My board was out to the side and still surrounded by bait fish, and I was too far from the shore just to get back, so I went for my board, which was about 2 meters away. And I remember that time, that's the scariest I've ever been in my life. It took me maybe 5 or 10 seconds to get to my board, body dragging, reaching out, but all I was thinking was, I'm just gonna get a shark, just bite straight into there. And once that board was under my feet, you know, and I was up riding again, I went to get out of there, but I went the wrong way. I went 200 meters straight out to the middle of the ocean. And then I was in shock, I was pale and I just was shaking. I could barely fly my kite. And when I got out there, I realized I had to go back through where it all happened, and I made it back to the shore eventually and just sat on the beach kind of just in a daze as to what had happened. It was so unreal, so it's just like out of this world. But I went back out 15 minutes later. I calmed myself down and we had an amazing session for another 2 hours. So, but you know, I see the shark obviously mistook my board for a fish, big shiny fish, and he probably got more of a shock than I did. I had some little teeth marks in my board, but I could still ride it, so it was cool. I was happy to come out of that one. Yeah, we get the internet from there. We have full broadband internet, but we don't have running water. But we have a well in our yard with a bucket. We shower from that. We get all our water. You know, it's such a simple life. We have a little motorbike. There's just the stresses of the rest of the world kind of just get blown away, which is, I love. I don't like to wear shoes. They restrict my feet. And I think I get smelly feet when I wear shoes. So I bought shoes to wear on this trip. I've only worn them once, and that was on the plane, and I'll probably give them to some kids when I get back to the island. But yeah, I try not to wear shoes, or board shorts is pretty much my daily outfit. That's what I go to work in. For paddling in surfing, you really want to try and get those days where there's just no wind and huge swells. So it takes a lot to come together, but I'm sure it'll happen. Yeah, it's really hard to sleep the night before you're going to surf big waves.